So, welcome everyone that's coming in and has just joined. So, we have a very special session planned with Ben, who many of you know, many of you have worked with. He's an awesome guy. He's my own personal pension agent. And also, I remember when I came to Israel, and not that my Hebrew is that amazing now, but when at first, in the beginning especially, and it wasn't so great, he really was an amazing guide showing me how the system works and things like that and beyond. So, we have a session today that's a little bit of a different topic or a different area than we've covered before. So I'm going to hand it over to him. Ben, thank you for sharing your time and what you prepared for tonight. I know it's going to be a great session.
That's it. It's my turn to talk, to speak.
Unless anyone else wants to say hi, but yes,
Okay,
you're
so first of all, I know Malcolm for 4.5 years, and thank you for improving my English and my insurance English. Uh, I will introduce myself really, really shortly, and then we will go on the topic of today. Let's do the share screen. I will just say that I have an insurance agency uh, with another partner who's accidentally my brother. Our business is it's not a small business. We have thousands of clients. Some of them are private clients like Malcolm, in which we handle all the insurances. We don't do cars and businesses, but we do funds, pension, ishtalmut, Gemel, health, private insurances like life insurance, and we also handle health insurances with really, really big companies. Uh, Along the years with Malcolm, I'm trying to help as much as I can with the guys that he's in classes. In some cases, I'm just really trying to answer like quick questions, like how to go to the website, or how to switch tracks, or how can I see the fees and if it's good or not. And in some cases, when it's good when this is what the client wants. We do meeting, and sometimes, God forbid, I also have clients from these classes, and I really try to do it only when like the way the client or the person that I speak with wants it to go. Um, the goal is to really give value to people, and if there's no value, there's no need for me to be an agent of someone. So now let's get to the topic today. The topic today is by far the hardest and the most complex area in our business as insurance agents. A lot of insurance agents don't do it because it's complex and it's irreversible. And it's a challenge, especially in English, to try in a presentation to explain the ground rules for you guys, so you will be able to understand. There's also different angles how to explain it, and I have my angle. So I do ask you to try to be patient, because every person has his own question that you want to ask. Try to ask questions on the slide that on the screen, and not to try to ask something that I haven't shown yet. And in the end, of course, I will answer to everything. And I'm going especially to explain like what's going on when you really want to turn the money that shows in the annual reports to real money, like when you are really retiring or really in the age that it matters. So, and I assume that there are people who are younger. So first of all, it's good to know what's going to happen. And in the end, maybe we will talk what you can do now after you understood that. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. Retirement is something that is not easy to anyone, regardless to the pension. It's you need to decide if you want to work or not. You don't have an income like you used to, so you need to decide what you want to do with your life. You want to live here, you want to live abroad, you want to live in a building, you want to live in a private house, you want to whatever. I cannot solve everything. So now I will try to talk about our angle of the saving that we have in pensions and in the funds. Okay, we will talk about three main topics. One, money. I hope that you are familiar with the term and you have it as much as you can. The second one is a kitzbah. It's like a classic Jewish word, right? Kitzbah. how do you say, annuity, something like that? How do you call it in English, Malcolm?
Annuity, like a perpetuity annuity that's reoccurring
Yeah,
payment.
Kitzbah is the best. Okay, so we keep the Kitzbah, and we have the issue, the topic of retirement. We have two main types of retirement: full retirement, meaning that you are really retiring from work, or, and we will discuss it because this may be the most interesting part, phased or virtual, or בעברית קיבוע זכויות, פרישה מדומה. There's a lot of terms to the fact that you don't really retire, but you start executing the money. Okay, let's start with the money. The first thing I want to say, I'm trying to minimize the picture of myself. Okay. The first thing I want to say, which is important, pension funds, GML, pension management insurances, are mainly saving account. Okay, like any type of saving account like you have in a bank or whatever. Okay? I'm having a hard time with the Zoom, wait. Okay? This is real money. Now, there is only one tiny difference between real money and the money that's inside the funds. And this is that you have a partner for life, which is tax, okay? You cannot really touch the money the way that you want without consulting this guy, this nice guy. And if you won't consult with him, he might punish you for that. Now, there's two fund types that you have in your policies or whatever. Part of the money is liquid cash, meaning you can always take it out. For instance, maybe the most famous one, educational fund. Once it's after 6 years, no matter what is your age, can be 40, 50, 60, 70, if more than 6 years, by the way, in some cases 3 years, you can take the money out, no taxes whatsoever, no taxes also on the earnings. Another example is money that has been deposited or contributed to the fund before 2000. There is a law that this money after 15 years, and of course from 2000, we are way after 15 years, this money can be taken out at any point with no tax on the earnings and no tax whatsoever. Another example, severance money. In some cases, part or all of the severance can be taken out with approval as it is. Okay? Now, the rest of the money, all the rest of the money that are in the GML, ביטוח מנהלים, pension, if you take it out as it is, 35% taxes. Okay? Now, what the tax guy is telling you, listen, this money, when you entered it, when the money was contributed, we gave tax benefits or to you as a self-employed, or we gave it to the employer. When he put the money, it was הוצאה מוכרת, deductible. So now, after we give this benefit, if you don't want us, the tax authorities, to take it back, let's talk how you are going to use the money, because the tax or the government is not trusting us, the people, that we will know how to use the money when we are retired. Questions so far?
There was
No
just
questions?
there was one comment, Ben, about just also using the Hebrew terms along with the English ones. It's just, I think, helpful for people to hear the terms like you use kitzbah for other ones along with the English.
To use more Hebrew?
You use both. It's just helpful to hear both of the terms.
Give me an example, like קרן השתלמות, educational fund, or
Yeah, exactly like that.
severance,
Yeah.
פיצויים?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try. I told you, I'm here for the English. I don't know why you are here. I'm here to practice my English.
Just have another question. Whenever you're ready for that, just pop in. Does that apply only to retirement funds that you have in Israel or also outside of the country?
We are talking Israel. I will and I saw that there was Malcolm asked you a few questions, and I know that there's the issue about the money abroad. So I will approach it in a different. It will be in another slide, but now we're talking about the Israeli rules, especially because we have to understand that a lot of people have a lot of money in different funds in Israel, right? In pension, in Menalim, in Gemel, because they worked in different places or whatsoever. So we're trying to understand about this money, how to make it real. And what I
Yeah,
explained so
let's
far,
focus on that, and then we can also get into later on or in the Q&A, Ziv, about foreign money as
no
well.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm trying to
Thank
say
you.
so far till now is that part of the money, usually not the majority, is liquid cash. You can always take it out. Or in the age of 60 or after 60 or whatever. But there is a lot of a big part of the money, which caged, like you can see here, with this guy, the taxes, that will not let it go out without the 35% tax, unless you have this card, the Kitzbah card. The Kitzbah card is the card that allows you to make this guy happy and let you take the money with no taxes. And that's one of the main reasons why people prefer, besides of personal preferences. I mean, some people, and we will talk about it, prefer to get it like as Kitzbah, and we will explain what Kitzbah in the next slide. But there is a big issue about the fact that the tax authorities don't tax money that becomes Kitzbah. Okay? So let's talk about Kitzbah. The first rule of Fight Club, no, I'm kidding. The first rule of Kitzbah is that it's paid for life. Once you take money and make it a Kitzbah, it becomes a lifetime salary. You get a letter from the company, Migdal, Phoenix, Menorah, and tells you from now on you get, for instance, 4,000 shekels for life. Of course, this is a big advantage because it's a security that you have that no matter what, by the way, the money is gone. If you use, for instance, 1 million shekel to get 5,000, once you do it, you don't have the million anymore. But on the other way around, you have 5,000 shekels for life. The second rule is that a lot of people are scared that what will happen if I give away 1 million shekel, I get 5,000 shekels, then after 2 months that I got 10,000 shekels, I die. I mean, I lose the money. So of course not. The pension is guaranteed to beneficiaries upon death of the person that got the Kitzbah. There's different, I think this is said, there's different alternatives that you decide in the day that you do it. You can decide, for instance, that you want your husband or your wife to get it. If you die along the way, the husband will get it the rest of his life. You can also determine that anyhow, the monthly Kitzbah will be paid for 20 years, meaning that if you get the Kitzbah, after 10 years you die, they will complete to pay the other 10 years to someone, to the children, to whoever you decide, like beneficiaries. Now, this is the thing about money abroad. Technically, theoretically, and practically, any fund can be converted. Someone can come with 1 million shekel from his bank account. I mean, he can bring money from the States, transfer it to Israel, to Bank Hapoalim or Bank Leumi or whatever, and then to call an insurance company, a pension fund, and tell me, listen, I don't know how to handle this million. I prefer, instead of having the million, you get it, and now let's make a deal and give me this amount per month with this guarantee alternative, blah, 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 blah. The last thing is that the move is irreversible. Once you sign the forms and it's executed, you will never be able to get the money back. And on the other way around, as explained, the pension fund or whoever will pay you the Kitzbah for life with the guarantee alternatives that you chose, etc., etc. Okay? And of course, that this part of converting money. It's not an easy call. It's I will not say complicated, but it's a once in a lifetime that you do it. So usually people don't do it by themselves. They consult with their friend, with an expert, with me, with someone else, blah, 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 blah. Now questions, if there are questions. We can move on.
I do have a question, please. Do we need to take out survivorship insurance in order for our beneficiaries to get our pension when we die?
Again, I didn't understand.
I understand there is such a thing that I actually learned from Malcolm about survivorship insurance.
Survivorship insurance?
Yeah.
What is it?
If you pass on, you can get certain types of insurance that say, if I pass on after 1 year or 2 years, the money will be transferred to my spouse or my kids, that kind of thing.
Because I understood it's not automatic and that you have to take out some kind of insurance, but from you now I understood.
No, it's not insurance. When you ask the pension fund, let's say that you have 2 million in a pension fund and let's say that you want to do it a kitzbah. So they will tell you, listen, you have like 5 different options. One, you can get 10,000 shekels a month, 12,000 shekels a month, or 14,000 shekels a month for life, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference? If you're willing to risk it all, meaning that you say, listen, I want as much as I can, and if I die, I don't care that the money is gone, they will give you 14K a month. If you say, listen, no way, I want to make sure that the money is not gone. And by the way, in a few slides from now, I will give you like a real example, okay? Because now we're talking. So you can choose how you want to guarantee the money. And of course, if you guarantee it more, you'll get less per month. It makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm moving forward. Now, the first option, as I explained, is full retirement. Full retirement is when a person knows or decided that he's not going to make any more income and he wants to retire and he wants to have like his life for himself. And then usually what we first check is what is the lump sum? Which part of the money is, as we discussed before, is liquid? And which part, and which part do I want to have a lifetime salary? Some people prefer, they don't need the salary because they have apartments and they have a lot of incomes. So they don't need this monthly thing. So they prefer as much as they can to have all the money on the side being invested and then to use whenever they want the money. Some people used to work all of their life and get this amount per month. And for them, if they have now like 1 million shekel and they are afraid to finish the money before they die, so they prefer a lifetime salary. It's important to explain that also here, you always need to, again, think about the tax, because again, as explained before, some of the money, if you want it as a lump sum, you need to pay 35%. So maybe it's not that smart to give away 35% of the money, and then you do it a lifetime salary. By the way, that's why the taxes exist, because the government wants us to be safe. So they want us to use the money, or at least part of it, as a monthly payment with no risks. Okay? Now, the second option, which is the most interesting thing to explain, maybe in this whole presentation, is what we called פרישה מדומה, קיבוע זכויות, virtual retirement, phase retirement. This is very common in Israel, generally speaking, and especially with my private clients. And this is a case when you have a person that's celebrating 64, 67 for males, for men, 64 for women, and they're still working. Full-time job, half-time job, whatever, but they have income. Okay? But because they got to the age, there is a meaning for the age, to the age itself. Usually, when a person gets to this age, and let's say that he has 2 million shekels in his funds, and let's say that 1 million shekel is liquid. About the liquid cash, there's no dilemma. If you have cash on the side that you can use, usually if you don't need it, you keep it being invested in the kupot. It's making money with no tax on the earnings. And you can always know that if you want it, you can use it. While you work, after you work, whatever. This is not an issue. But what's really interesting is about the caged money, the money that I remind you that anyways, you cannot take out with no tax unless it's a kitzbah. And why it's interesting? Because these are locked funds that can never, ever be withdrawn as a lump sum without paying taxes. Okay? Now, because of that, if it's not for inheritance, meaning that if you are not saying, okay, I cannot take it out, no problem, I keep it, and then when I die, that my children will get it. This is an option. But if you want to really use the money, the only way to do it is with kitzbah. Now, the real question is, what is the best advice? The best advice is to let the money keep growing until I'm really going to retire in the age of 69, 70, 75, and then to use it as a kitzbah, or to do it right away. And now I'll give you an example like with real numbers. Beseder? Questions? Okay.
What are locked funds in Hebrew?
כסף קצבתי. In the kupot, usually, there's two terms, כסף הוני וכסף קצבתי. כסף הוני, like capital money, it's money that can be taken out with no tax. All the money that is for kitzbah, it's called kitzbati, kesef kitzbati. It's most of the money, meaning that this money cannot be taken out with no tax unless it's a kitzbah. There's more rules, of course. I'm trying to really simplify it so it will be able to, that you will be able to understand the general concept. Okay? So let's...
But in a pension are automatically this type?
Come again?
All funds in a pension fund are kesef kitzbati?
In pension fund, all the money is like that, unless if it was contributed before 2000, or some of the money is severances. So there's a way to go with the tax authorities and take the money, part of it out because it's severance. I mean, some people don't take out the severances for all of their life, and then when they come to the end of the day, they have a lot of money that were severances from all the employers. And then, in the end of the day, you can do something with the tax authorities and get approval to take it out. Hello? Okay, let's get...
If you die and your kids inherit the money, do they have to pay the 35%?
Good question. And as long as you don't make the money to kitzbah, if you die, no matter when, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, the money is being transferred as it is to the beneficiaries with no taxes.
Great.
I will say something, maybe it will confuse you, but I will say because it's true. In pension fund, there is a mechanism that sometimes you don't get the money. Instead, you get, by the way, in pension fund, you always get paid by monthly. And there's a calculation, sometimes you get much more. I'll give a small example and let's move on because it's completely different. If you are 30 years old and you have a coverage on your salary of 10K and the lump sum in the pension fund is 100K, the family will not get the 100K, but instead they will get the 10K for life, more or less. So, but again, it's a different topic. Sada?
Yeah.
Could you say what phase retirement is in Hebrew? Because I think I've got a fund called Phoenix Excellence or something like that, and it's called I forgot what it's called in Hebrew, but it's not called phase retiring.
Again. What's in Phoenix? What did you say?
Phoenix Excellence.
No, Phoenix Excellence is a company.
It's a Honda Hashka'a or something like that.
לא, זה גמל ההשקעה אולי.
Gemel Hashka. Yes, that's
No,
it.
but this is גמל ההשקעה, it's a product. Now we're talking about a thing you can do that's called פרישה מדומה
Ah.
when you are in the age of retirement and you're still working.
Meduma
פרישה
is
מדומה,
phased?
קיבוץ...
Meduma is phased?
Yeah, virtual retirement, phased retirement.
Virtual, okay.
Virtual, yeah, okay.
Mm.
בסדר. Now let's get to the example. Now this example is a real example, בסדר? Of like real numbers. A 67 years old man who is still working and has an income with 1 million shekels of locked retirement savings. His first option, as explained before, is to do the pension conversion now, okay? Despite of the fact that he's still working. Even if it doesn't need the money, he can do the conversion. 1 million shekel is 5,450 shekels a month for life, with a guarantee for 20 years. I mean, even if you, I mean, again, it's for life. It can be 30 years, but even if he dies after a year, someone will be paid the rest of the money. Now, the first thing I want to show here, that the action of converting money to Kitzbah is at least a fair deal. I will not say it's the best deal, but it's at least fair. Why it's fair? Because even if someone do this and then dies, because the guarantee is for 20 years, it becomes more money than the million. Now, of course, the client can say, listen, if I had the million myself, I can invest it, blah, 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 blah. But again, this is option 1. This is the option, by the way, with the full guarantee. It's a guarantee for 20 years, also for the fiancé, for the wife, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is option A. The option B says, listen, I don't need the money now. I will wait for the age of 70 when I'm really going to retire, and then I will convert the money. Now, when you postpone the conversion, you get, because you're supposed to live less time, the pension fund will give you more money, 450 shekels more per month for life. And then we are getting to the real discussion. What is better? To get the 5,450 shekels in the age of 67, or to postpone it when you really need it in the age of 70, in this example? Now, the option B is better because, and this is the claim, how do you say it? Malcolm, how do you say it? Help me.
What's the term? The better option?
Like tiun.
Tier 1?
Claim.
Argument.
Yeah, the argument. The argument says, listen, you don't need the money now. You wait until you actually need the pension, and then you'll get another 450 shekels a month, which is a lot of money, and it's for life, right? But the option 1 argument is really interesting. And it says, you just paid for that almost 200K, because once you postponed it, you gave up on 5,450 shekels, multiplied by 12, multiplied by 3. Now, in order to get this money back with the 450 shekels per month, you need to live until the age of 90, more or less, even more. Now, this is an important thing to understand, that mathematically speaking, when someone gets to the age of retirement, even if he doesn't need the money, if he doesn't want if he really wants to use the money and not just to keep it, and when he dies, it will go as it is to his children, or to his husband, to her husband or his wife, it does make sense at least to think about executing the kitzvah, because it becomes more money. Now, if I just showed you that the kitzvah is much, much better to do as soon as possible, why to wait to the retirement age to start getting the kitzvah? Why not to start in the age of 60. Up. לא. Wait, לא. Too simple. I have kids. No, this I will finish this and then only question. So the question is, if it's as soon as I get more money, why not to start even earlier, in the age of 60, if I have the money? And here is, again, this guy, the tax guy, say something simple. When you are 67, if you are a man, and 64 when you are a woman, I give you a present. Only from this age, I'm allowing you to get this kitzbah without calculating your income. Because if you do this thing in the age of 62, and you get kitzbah of 5,000, but you have another salary of 20,000, the tax authorities combine them together as two incomes, and they kill you with the taxes. But in the age of retirement, it's possible, not on all the money, but at least part of the money. There's limits to everything in life. You can do this conversion and get it with no tax, and you can keep working, keep earning money, pay the regular taxes that you pay from your earning, from your salary or from your whatever, and you get this kitzbah with no taxes. Now questions.
I just have a question about what does it mean when you get a kitzbah for life, or you choose to get paid out for life? It sounds like there's some kind of actuarial or mathematical equation, like it's going to get paid out over 20 years, not for life, but is that like expected lifetime? It's not really getting paid out for your whole life.
Yeah. On the background, there is a calculation. By the way, it's identical calculation for all the pension funds. Some people have all the management insurances with better calculation, but there's a calculation. Listen, if I'm the pension fund, and 1,000 people come to me and do the deal, the average, I will hit the average, right? Now, because there is a meaning also for the money, I mean, I as a pension fund get the money, and I need to pay you the tashlumim, like in small payments for 2 or 3 decades. In the meantime, I can use the money and get interest and okay, so it's all calculated. But as I showed before, and again, for you, maybe it's theoretically, but we do it, like not every day, but every week we handle conversions of funds. The deals are fair, secured. This is how it works in Israel. You can always take money and convert it to kitzbah.
Okay, but when you turn something into a kitzbah, does it freeze that amount of money? Like you make a kitzbah and you're at 1,000,000 shekels.
No. The 1,000,000 shekel is gone. I always say as a joke to a person that let's do a meeting. We can do Zoom meeting, but dress up because you're going to say goodbye to your money. The money is gone. There's no money. The money, in the second that you sign, the money is.
It basically just gets converted to a lifetime fee that pays you monthly based on the amount you had and the average lifetime, which is also a term, a coefficient that we've talked about. So the million is you have no claim to the million. Instead, you have a claim to a lifetime payment of 5,000.
By the way,
so how can a beneficiary or whoever you want to continue to get your money, like if it gets to let's say it's based on 20 years, but if you live longer than those 20 years, you continue to get that payment. That's what I'm understanding.
Yes.
But if you passed away after 7 years, then there could be a beneficiary that could continue at least to get that money paid out until the term that might be 20 years.
I will explain. I will explain.
Is it linked also to inflation, the kitzbah?
Come again?
Is it linked to inflation?
It's linked to there's governmental bonds with 4% or 5% yield that really protects more or less there is a method to try to to keep it real, the money, like to make it make sense. I want to explain. When someone do the kitzbah, he gets like a real salary slip from the pension fund. He doesn't need to work, right? But he gets a salary slip. Now, when he gets the first salary slip, he gets this letter. It's unbelievable, but it's only one page that's written. You will get this amount of money per month for life. The second line says, there is also a guarantee that we will pay at least 240 payments, for instance, which is 20 years. And if it's relevant, and we guarantee that even after that, if your wife will still be alive or your husband, he will get, for instance, because you can choose different options, 60%. I mean, it's really written down what you will get. It's a fact that the kitzbah is for life, and then you can decide how much you want to guarantee to the children, to the husband. There's different options. And of course, as you see in this slide, almost nobody, I'd never heard about someone that just do it by himself, right?
And also to speak to what Ben mentioned earlier, there's a trade-off. For example, if you now your payment would be 10,000 shekel a month, you can choose an option that says, I want to guarantee that if I die, again, 240 payments go out, and then for that option, you might get a slightly lower monthly payment, but then it's guaranteed. So basically what you do is there's a trade-off in how much you get monthly based on how much,
Yeah, because sometimes there's a person that usually it's a she. She's like 70. The husband is gone, right? Because the wife always stays. It's pure nature. And the kids are really big and settled, so nobody really needs the money, okay? And then the person that do this decision can take like a risk because he doesn't care. Nobody needs the money, and he wants to get more per month, so you can choose less guarantee, more kitzbah.
So, for instance, if somebody did this plan, they pass away a year later, their spouse is supposedly getting 60% of them, that amount.
Yeah, but there's also option of 100%. This is the most classic one. Usually it's 100% plus 240, meaning that like the maximum security, meaning that either one of the couple will get it for life. And even if both of them are gone, the rest of the payments of the 20 years will be paid to someone. This is the classic decision because usually the difference in the kitzbah is not that big. Usually it's an easy call. But again, this is, as I said before, this is a big decision. It's irreversible. It's on usually a lot of money, 200,000 shekels, 500,000, 1 million. So usually you need to consult with experts. I'm not the only one. There are other. By the way, in a lot of times, I don't do it only by myself. I usually tell the person to go to another yoetz prisha because I'm not an accountant, and sometimes it's good for the person to consult also with yoetz prisha, that he knows the calculations to make sure that you get this present that I showed, because this present has rules. And I'm not going to explain it to you now because it's so boring, but someone needs to check before the first kitzbah that you are going to get it tax-free, right? Because you don't want to get taxed. Okay. And again, as always, this is something that I'm explaining, and now I will answer also questions. The game plan is not that everybody will come to me. Maybe some of you guys have another one to consult if needed. No problem. I'm just warning you for one thing. In this area, do not write on Google yoetz prisha and get to someone, because there are a lot of scams in this area, a lot. This is maybe the area with the most scams and people that call themselves yoatzim, but they are agents. I mean, I'm not a yoetz, I'm an agent, an insurance agent. So a lot of insurance agents tell that they are yoatzim because yoetz is theoretically more objective, right? But they are not really objective. and a lot of people, you don't need a certificate to do it. So everybody can claim that he's an expert, right? So really be careful if you do it, to do it with someone that you know, you trust, you heard about from someone else, blah, blah, blah. בסדר? Okay, more question. Now, whatever you want. I will say something because I saw on the Excel before that there are a lot of young people in this session. I don't know who got in or who wasn't, but I want to explain something. As explained before, we're talking about money. The game plan is to try to get as much money as possible. By the way, this is always true in life and also for retirement. So first of all, get as much money as possible. Now, if someone is employed, it's automatic. I mean, the employer has to put the money. Anyways, you cannot take it out. So it's an automatic thing that's happening, that it grows up because there are contributions and the money is invested. And there is the classic discussion about investment tracks. And this is something that Malcolm talks about all the time. If you are self-employed, you can always need to check what's good for you with the accountant, what's good for you to contribute, and then you get it's tax deductible, הוצאה מוכרת, and you get as much money as possible, and then you get to the retirement age. The last option, because I saw a lot of people asking how can I get enough money, or how can I get more? There is also one product really interesting, by the way, someone talked about it about 10 minutes ago, called גמל להשקעה. All the companies have it, has it. Altshuler, Phoenix, Migdal, Meitav, all of them. And this is an interesting tool for investment because it's what I call optional pension fund, meaning that you can put money in up to 80K a year. This is a regular investment. There's also tax on the earnings when you take the money out. But if you want to move between tracks or between companies, you can do it like השתלמות, you can move it all the time, no tax. And if in the age of retirement, you decide that you do want it to be kitzbah, you don't have to. You can always take it out as a lump sum. But if you want to take it as a kitzbah, there will be no tax on the earnings. And by the way, if you save money for decades, it can be a lot of money. So this is something interesting. If you see about the גמל להשקעה, this is why it's really, really popular way to save money, because on one hand, you are not obligated to the kitzbah. You can always take the money out and pay a tax on the earnings like any other investment in Israel. But if you do want to use it as kitzbah, you will be tax-free on the earnings. Okay, now questions from any
note about this one. For Americans, though, you have to be careful because Kupat Gimel, Kupat Lashka often is considered a PFIC. So in that case, for any non-U.S. citizens, that's not a problem. But for U.S., there's sometimes is the extra taxation in the U.S. for that one.
Sorry, on that note, aren't these like considered like tax wrappers from a U.S. perspective, and like a pension that they would recognize, as opposed to Keren Ishtalmut, where you could take it out before your pension age?
First of all,
sorry, is this a pension thing? Because if it is, it might be considered a tax wrapper, and you wouldn't have that problem. But if it isn't, then you'd have the same problem as Keren Ishtalmut, right? If you're American.
First of all, I will be cautious about tax things because I'm not an accountant, and especially I'm not specializing in the American rules. I will just say that generally speaking, any fund that is being contributed from an employer, like educational fund from employer or pension fund from employer, it's under the radar. There's nothing to do. I mean, there's nothing. As I know, every money that you put yourself to pension fund, to השתלמות, to גמל להשקעה, there are implications of being an American. I did hear an explanation from an accountant that, for instance, and I'm really cautious, but for instance, pension fund, even if you put כעצמאי, usually there's no a problem. But again, any American that handling and has a business here, he has to have someone to consult that really knows the meanings of taxes. כאילו זה ברור. Any more questions?
I just wanted to check that I understood something. If you get your money as a kitzbah, that it's your own, not as a beneficiary, you don't pay tax on the pension amount that you get monthly. Is that right?
In short, yes. When we explain more, it's a bit more complicated, because if, for instance, someone has 20K kitzbah, there are taxes. I mean, there's limit about the tax benefits. Okay, that's why I always said that there's always an accountant or yoetz prisha that knows the taxes to make sure the things. But a lot of times it depends on the amount. Now, as you saw before, 1 million shekel is around 5K. בסדר? 5K a month. Usually up to 5K. In any case, there are no taxes. In any case, even if you keep working. If it's full retirement, usually 12K or 10K, no taxes. But again, if someone has a lot of money, so he needs to be more careful and to use a more professional accountant to plan it, how to use the money, what to use as lump sum, what to use. I mean, my main things that I did want to explain here, that first of all, that you will understand how it works, generally speaking, this conversion. This is one. Two, if someone is going to retire, it's obvious that this is the time that he needs to see about his funds and try to plan how is the best thing to do specifically for him to use it, because it depends on his status, his alternative, his option, his funds, what he wants, etc. And the third thing is to explain that whoever gets to the retirement age and he has money that is kesef kitzbati, caged money that he will never be able to take out, it's a good idea to think about executing and trying and starting to get it out. By the way, it's pretty fun as well. I mean, it's fun to see after a decade or two, this money that always shows up in these reports to real money. Like every month, I'm not going to pitch that getting money is fun, it's obvious. But to get every month money, like real money, not money that, okay? So, and although it is complicated, it's not, in a lot of cases, it's not that complicated. By the way, this session started because I had these few people that came to me from Malcolm as well, like 70 years old that have like 300K in this kupa, okay? And they never see this money. And the person tells me, listen, I have this money, but I understood that I cannot take it out because I will need to pay 100K to the government. I don't want it. And then you show me, listen, what you can do, you can take the 300K and get instead 2K per month for life with the guarantee. You will not lose the money. So it's really, really interesting. For me, personally, it's one of the parts that I like the most because it's really fun, because it's like a really win-win. The client likes it. It's a fair, as I said, it usually looks like, and it is a good deal. I mean, it's like, and it's, by the way, it takes around 2 months, so it's fun because it takes time, and then to see it happening.
There's more questions, but also, Ben, just to explain a little bit, like, in the program, I think everyone knows if they have questions on pension, you give them advice, you help them change tracks, and just no strings attached. For these kind of situations, also people, if they're near retirement or just planning, they can reach out to you and you can just give them guidance, or what sort of
yes, but
help?
Look, when someone asks me, listen, I want to know, I want to change my track, I can do it in the WhatsApp. Okay, no problem. I tell them, listen, show me a screen. Let me see if you want. Let's do a Zoom. Let's do a screen. Here, this is consulting. Now, I don't charge money from any of the guys from your class, but it's something like it's to send me the ideas and to order. I mean, this is a meeting, a proper meeting, at least the first one to because it's not on the way like a question that you can just answer like in a minute. Again, I never charge money on talking or meetings or whatever. I say it up front because sometimes if I meet 4 people with 2 people, I do something. When I do something with companies like moving money, transferring money, whatever, someone will always pay me, this company or whatever. So I'm not like tzedakah, זה לא צדקה. So no problem to help you guys, but I'm saying in this criteria, it's not something that can be done without a real meeting. It cannot be done because I really need to see everything and to talk to the person to understand his position, because it's really, really different from one person to another. Because one person, the best advice is not to touch the money. In one person is to touch the money. One person, כאילו, זה מאוד מאוד משתנה.
Where are you based?
In Kadima.
Okay.
Kadima. No problem to do real meetings if it's in the area, if it's in the Zohar Sharon, or in my office. But I have to say that nowadays a lot of meetings are in like this in the Zoom. That like there's no really problem to conduct proper meetings, at least the first one in this way. And again, usually, by the way, in a lot of times in this area specifically of the retirement, of phase retirement, it doesn't end up in one meeting because again, a lot of times I tell the person, listen, you have to consult with your own accountant or maybe to get someone that knows, because the tax is really something that we cannot do mistake with. I cannot promise to someone that he will get this amount, but then you discover that 2 years ago he took out $500,000 as severances with no tax, and because of that, now he's not entitled to get anything. There's different things that can happen, so we try to not to make mistakes because again, it's irreversible.
Other questions from people? I know there are questions in the comments, but turn your camera on, ask the questions. It's very helpful because a lot of the questions you guys ask, many people are wondering.
No, I'm really still stuck on the whole thing with the inflation. So I don't understand how.
Wait, how do I stop the
What?
share screen? I'm trying to stop the share screen. Wait.
No, I can turn off for you.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
I got it. Okay.
I'm not sure if I understand how I would not be negatively affected if I took it early because of inflation. Like, how does it keep pace with inflation?
The government gives the pension funds 4 or 5% on 60% of the amount in order to make it like grow a little all the time. So it's supposed, if the inflation goes like what's happening in the 80s in Israel, it might be a problem, and then it will be a really big problem. I don't know how they'll solve it, but generally speaking, the amount is growing a bit all the time, like the Madad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's adjusted basically on a yearly basis, upward, based roughly on inflation, not the full amount, but that in terms of that's how it's actually executed.
You're asking or you're saying?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you to confirm.
To confirm what?
So, for example, is it on a yearly basis? Let's say I'm getting 10,000 shekel a month. Each year, it's readjusted slightly based on inflation.
Yes. No, it's not based on inflation. They have their own tool that, I mean, it's not the inflation, but they have a method on the back that makes it grow a bit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they assume around 4%. I mean, they have and more than that, because this is the only way to get pension in Israel, it's really, really regulated. I mean, it's not something when you conduct the business, but that's why it's also identical with all the companies, because it's not rules that the company can change, right? It's and after saying that, bad things can happen, right? We had some wars here. I mean, someone can buy a house in Tel Aviv, and then the Iranian could do better in the war, and there's no life in Tel Aviv. So There's always risk about everything in life, but generally speaking, this is a really conservative and safe, protected way.
Mhm.
I can tell you that, look, in the last few years, there were really big inflation. Nobody approached us. The Kitzbah works.
Mhm.
Ben, can I ask you a question on this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to get my head around the Kitzbah. So essentially, the insurance company is giving you a guaranteed amount, which per month, which has some sort of index link against inflation. But it's basically the insurance company saying, well, we can sort of guarantee that we're going to get certain percent on the investments that we're making, and that's how we're going to pay you out.
Right.
And then you have to weigh that against different funds that can really make much bigger profits potentially, and then even with taxes, you'll be better off. That's the trade-off, right?
Yes, but because of the tax issues, if you have money, and this is, I mean, usually people about the lump sum, there's a big dilemma, and a lot of people, if they don't have to do the Kitzbah, they don't do the Kitzbah because they say what you say. Listen, I have this money, it's being invested. I'm not pressured. I'm all up. Okay, but when you have money that you will never be able to touch unless you die, and then your children will touch it, and you do want to touch it, so it's a different dilemma, right? Because it's not about the earnings, it's about the fact that you want to use the money. And as I showed before, the fact that you keep being invested, you don't get the money for years, so it becomes hundreds of thousands of shekels. What you can do, you can take the money monthly and then invest it, right? You can take the money out, the Kitzbah, and invest it yourself in whatever you want.
From
and make the
67.
millions that you... No, I'm just... the thing is that there's one dilemma about money that you can choose what to do. You have money in the bank, you don't know, you want Kitzbah, you don't want Kitzbah. But this is not the most common thing that's going on. The first common thing that you do, you handle the money that you never saw, because it was always in the company, in the fund, and you understand, as I explained, that because of the taxes, you most likely will not see unless you do it a Kitzbah. And again, some people say, listen, I don't need this money. It's being invested, there's no tax on the earnings, I can choose the S&P 500 on it, and when I die, my wife will get it tax-free. Okay. And this is the angle.
Okay, and just related to that, just to, because I got the fact that some other people were asking this or trying to understand this. So it's guaranteed for life for the person, and if the person dies within 20 years, then the balance of the 20 years of 20 years worth of payments will continue going to beneficiaries up to that 20th anniversary. Is that correct?
Correct. And there's an option to choose when you have a wife and a husband, that the husband and the wife will get, regardless to the 20 years, for life as well. So it's an option.
Oh, I see. Okay. Which obviously has some financial implication on the monthly sum, I guess.
It depends. When the wife does it, it doesn't matter because they know that statistically most likely she will live. So it's almost it depends on the ages of the both of.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Ronnie. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have another question. You said it's actually would be interesting to like take out at the very early stage a Kitzbah, because then over time, like for lifetime, it can get a pretty high sum. But this is one extreme. But what about the other extreme? Never turning it into a Kitzbah and just taking out the sum that you need yearly for your retirement age. The advantage would be that the children or husband, wife inherit the whole thing, what is left, as a lump sum, and it's still growing also after age 67.
A few corrections. First of all, The reason why it's good to take it as soon as possible is because you get more payments. This is the explanation why it's get to get it better. Secondly, when the money is kitzbati, when it's a caged money, you cannot do what you just said. You cannot just take part of the money out. This is the problem. When you have a lump sum, you can do whatever you want. But when you have a kitzbah money, there's no way to say, listen, I have $1 million, I want to take part of it. It's only a kitzbah. And as I said before, if the plan is to inherit the money, so you don't do kitzbah, you just keep it as it is, you don't touch it. So the tax and the kitzbah thing, this is the whole issue here. Because if it was regular money, you can do, and this is all our discussion here now, it's the same. When you have regular money in the bank or lump sum in the ishtalmut or in the pension fund, there's no problem. Do whatever you want. But I'm not more an expert than you, because maybe you know to handle money better than me, or Malcolm better than me, whatever. But when you have money that you cannot take out, you cannot use it, not part of it and not all of it, unless you want to pay 35% taxes, your only option is or to keep it to your wife or children, or to make a kitzbah. This is the options.
Okay, so I cannot basically take up part of the money.
The sound was weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Either everything or not.
Ron, it's a bit hard to hear you. Maybe try say it again or write in the chat.
Okay, maybe now it's better.
Now it's better, yeah.
Okay, so this is what I didn't know, that I cannot take out part of the money. Either take out the whole money as a lump sum and pay the 35% tax,
yes,
or I take out nothing and I get the kitzbah. Okay.
Yeah, you can also take part and pay. If you pay 35 taxes, you can do whatever you want.
Then I can take out part of the money if I pay. Let's say I have 2 million and I want to take out 200,000. Is this possible? And pay 35% tax on the 200,000.
Yeah, but again, mathematically, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, you can do it, but it doesn't make sense, generally speaking.
Why not? All the rest will continue to be invested on the capital markets and will grow much more than it would than if I freeze it.
So if I'll go with your direction, so take the 200K and do this part of the kitzbah. It will be a small kitzbah. You don't have to use the whole money. You can transform part of the money. But if you take a part and pay 35% taxes, mathematically it will be less money than do it as a kitzbah, generally speaking. And again, you can do whatever you want. I mean,
and I pay 35% tax on what? On the 200,000 that I took out, or on the whole 2 million that are in?
No, on the 200K.
Ron, essentially, you're saying that if you took that money out, let's make the math simpler. It's 100,000. You take it out, so you're left with 65,000. Your assumption would be, like in that case, you could invest in, let's say, SPMO or
one not the 65,000. No, this money I need for living.
Oh,
the rest will be continued to be invested. The 1.9 million, let's say, that is still there. This will continue to grow, which it wouldn't if I freeze it and get a kitzbah.
Again, if there is a money that you don't need, there's no reason to do anything about it. But if when you take the money out, whatever amount you take voluntarily, and you lose a third of the money, it's you can do it. But
okay, all right, thanks.
So I have a question. When you say that you could make your money a kitzbah, and then you could take out that money and you don't pay tax on it, and then do whatever you want with that money. You could invest part of it or whatever. What is the tax on then investing that money, and then what's the tax rate of then accessing that money that's in your investment? It's not connected.
You'll have it like the kitzbah becomes a monthly payment. So you're saying you get that monthly payment. Let's say you're getting 3,000-4,000 shekel, and then you invest it. Essentially,
you invest 1,000 of it, because the rest, you don't need exactly all of it, But you invest 1,000 of it. What are the tax rates on investments?
Like any investment, like it's
It
your
should
money.
just be, it should just be the flat 25%.
It's your money.
Yeah, on profit you make.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ron, also just to speak to the scenario you talked about, because I think there is an interesting element to that. Let's say you lived in a place and you're like, look, I still have a mortgage and I just want to knock out that payment or something. So I want a lump sum, but I have enough money in other ways to just kind of sustain myself. In that case, maybe you want to say, I'll take the hit, I'll pay the 35% tax, but I'll get out 100,000, whatever it would be, pay off that mortgage or whatever.
Yeah, but again, because of the 35%,
yeah.
I didn't calculate it, but most likely that if you do a kitzbah and with the kitzbah you pay the monthly mashkanta, most likely it will work better. Most likely without calculating. Look, when it's 35%, it's a lot. It's not 10. Okay, so usually, and again, now we are speaking theoretically. I do it, like I meet people, and usually it's an easy call for them because they don't touch the money. They say, okay, this money is like imaginary money. I want it. I don't want to pay 35%. Let's show me the solution. We calculate. Usually it does make sense to the person. By the way, your guys, because a lot of them are like from abroad. So a lot of times they don't have a lot of money when they're in the age of, because they didn't work in Israel since the age of 30, right? So they have maybe funds in different places in the world. But in Israel, the funds are not that big most of the time. So it's like 200K, 300K, 400K that they have. And then, if they want, they don't have to, by the way, they can transform it to a kitzbah. If they don't want it, they can keep it as an investment. Now, one person needs this monthly thing and it helps him out. And some person doesn't care because it's nothing for him. So, kol beseder, it's really individual. But I'm just saying that there is this thing that it has nothing to do with oleh chadash, lo oleh chadash. It has nothing to do with it. The classic thinking is, listen, if I'm not retired, I don't do anything, I wait. There's a lot of 70, 75 people that work and they have this money. They don't even check what are the options. They say, listen, now I work. This is pension. I'm not in pension. I'm working, right? So this is something that I want you to understand, that it's two different things, the pension age and the real pension, and there is something that exists.
Let's just take one or two more questions because, Ben, I want to also be respectful of your time. And also anyone that wants to be in touch with him, I think all of you have Ben's info. Not, you message me, and I will share a recording of this too with his info. Stephen, you had a question?
Yeah, there are three issues. I've been through all of this, and I'm listening to it like, yeah, I wish I'd known a lot more of this earlier, but I don't think I made that many mistakes. There were three issues. It's called old money and new money. So it depends on when you started investing. The old money, I ended up with like a 400 shekel kitzbah that goes up 4% a year. So long as inflation is less than 4%, I say, okay, fair enough. I get a couple of cups of coffee out of it. The new money kitzbah that I get has gone up actually better than 4%. Okay, so it's not much you can do about it. Plus, when I looked into it as much as I could, Phoenix, I even sent me an email saying, whatever kitzbah you get from us, Phoenix, it will 100% be linked to the inflation rate. And it's totally wrong. I mean, perhaps I should be suing them at some point, but so far it's sort of, it's okay. So I don't know if there's anything you want to say about new money or old money. There's a matter which is absolutely irritating called Tiyum Mas. While I'm still in my, compos mentis and I can still deal with it, I have to go through a whole loop of complicated stuff once a year to do Tiyum Mas. Otherwise, I'll be paying 20 or 30% or whatever tax rate they decide to slap me with. I'm self-employed. And when I'm not capable of doing it myself, my family will have to do that. And I've left instructions which came to 2 whole pages. So, am I doing something wrong, or is this something that everybody has to do? And the final thing that I just found about purely by accident, and I'm glad I did, It's called Kibua Zchuyot. And apparently, had I not done it, something awful would have happened. I don't know what I did. I paid somebody 1,000 shekels. He did it. And he says, lucky you did it. I don't know what he did, but I was told that I did the right thing. I don't understand what it is, but here's an opportunity for 37 people to understand more than I did when I had to deal with it. So it's Kibua Zchuyot, Tiul Mas, new money and old money.
I'm not sure about the new money, old money. I think that you have some money in Bituach Menahalim and some money in pension fund. Maybe this is what you meant. Let's go to the other two because this I understand. As explained, the tax is really an issue when you get Kitzbah. When your income, I mean, let's say that someone, forget about retirement. If I work in 2 different workplaces and I don't do Te'um Mas, tax, how do you say it in English, Te'um Mas, Malcolm?
Someone can help me on that one?
Annual tax reconciliation.
Oh.
Okay. If I work in 2 places, if I don't do the Te'um Mas, one of the 2 will charge me maximum taxes because he doesn't know how much I make in the other place. So what is needed to do is to go to the tax authority, say, listen, I work in this place and this place, do the calculation, then tell my employers how much tax I need to pay. Now, as explained before, when you are getting a pension, the pension fund or the Bituach Menahalim, it's your employer as well. And now, if you work as well, you have different incomes. So once a year, you need to do this thing.
Reconciliation.
So the tax authorities will tell each one how much taxes you need to pay. Now, Kibua Zchuyot, and this is important, this is the present that I showed you in the presentation. Kibua Zchuyot, that when the tax authorities, and of course, because it's a present, nobody gives it to you. You need to come to the tax and get it, right? Nobody gives it to you. You need to come to the tax authorities. Listen, I'm over 67. I'm entitled to get tax-free up to a limit from the fund, regardless to the Te'um Mas. So if you do the Kibua Zchuyot,
Well, let me just mute.
So Kibua Zchuyot is.
Oh, sorry, Ben. You're
okay. It's okay. So I'm just saying that the Kibua Zchuyot is the thing that need to be done. By the way, usually accountants charge money, so don't feel bad that you paid because usually it costs money to do it. And from that point on, usually the pension fund does pay with no taxes, regardless to what you make.
So basically, I'm doing Tiul Mas because I'm getting it from Phoenix Pension Fund A and Phoenix Pension Fund B.
Yeah.
The old money and the new money. That's
it's two employers because
right.
All right, we'll do one last one. I know Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
No, it's not relevant anymore, so it's okay.
Okay. Anyone that hasn't asked a question that's wondering something? All right. Ben, thank you very much. I learned a lot from the session. I thought it was really helpful. And yeah, I hope everyone else did. And Ben is here as usual as a resource, so to help us with this stuff. And thank you for your time. Definitely appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ben. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.